Hi, welcome to the Conversation Shop with Sedrick Page. Thank you for joining me. We have a very interesting show planned for you today. We're going to talk about sex. We have the relationship nurse and entrepreneur, Secret 7, all about improving relationships between men and women. Miss LaDonna Wright. How are you doing today, LaDonna?
I'm doing well, Cedric. Thank you
Yes.
so much for having me on the show today. And I'm
Well,
so happy to be able to connect with your audience because, as you know, I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. So I'm super happy to be able to be here today so I can reach all of those people at one time. So I'm really excited.
I'm very happy to have you, but you're here because I want to catch up with you too. So you know what I
Awesome.
mean. I definitely want to catch up with you, and I've been watching you on social media, and
Hmm.
again, I've been a little bit confused about. I thought it was about Secret 7, and I'll let you tell my audience what Secret 7 is. But the consulting, the relationship nurse, I want you to tell my audience, number one, who you are for those in Madison who don't know who LaDonna Wright is. Tell them who you are, and then tell me a little bit about your business and what you've become.
Okay. So my name is LaDonna Wright. I am the relationship nurse. I'm new to being the relationship nurse. That's something that I've just started about a year ago. So, as you know, I'm from Madison, Wisconsin,
Hmm.
and now I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. But before moving to Charlotte, North Carolina, I was living in Chicago,
Hmm.
where I was actually born, but raised in Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I'm a registered nurse, as you know. I
Hmm.
graduated from Madison Area Technical College
Hmm.
in 2003.
Hmm.
So I guess I've been a nurse now for 15 years.
Okay.
It has been already, right?
Hmm.
So immediately when I got out of nursing school, I went to ICU. I used to work at St. Mary's Hospital in the ICU.
Okay.
And I transferred to their sister hospital in the suburbs of Chicago, a Blue Islands hospital called St. Francis, and I worked
Okay.
in their ICU.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
huh?
I say no. Keep telling us.
Yeah. And then then after I graduated, after I started working at ICU there, then I was recruited by some hospice nurses there
Okay.
because I was always consulting for hospice for their patients in the ICU.
Okay.
And then I learned that I was really good at being a hospice nurse and I was really passionate about being a hospice nurse.
Okay.
So then I started working as a hospice nurse in Chicago and I had the opportunity to manage an 18-bed inpatient hospice unit in Chicago.
Okay.
But also during all of that time in transitioning to Chicago, I ended one relationship where I was married,
Okay.
got a divorce, met the love of my life, who my husband is now, is Warren.
Okay.
And then we got married. And while we were getting married and all of that, we were like having a lot of fun. And,
Hmm.
and that's how we developed or birthed, as we say, Secret 7.
Okay.
Secret 7, the relationship game.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, and
Okay.
how Secret 7 came about is it was just
Hmm.
a Valentine's weekend. My husband's birthday is also on Valentine's Day. So I was making this big special occasion for Valentine's Day. So I went
Sit
to the
back a little
adult
bit.
novelty stores
Hmm.
looking for a game. And I was asking them about the games, and they could not recommend any games to me. They didn't even know the names of the games. And probably before you heard of Secret 7, Cedric, you probably couldn't name an adult game.
No, I could not. I know
Yeah.
I could not
So
do that at all.
right, right. So so we bought a game, right? But
Hmm.
it ended up being a cheesy game that really didn't work and really just wasn't that fun.
Okay.
So I made up my own game,
Okay.
Secret 7, and it was so much fun that evening. And my husband and I had
So what's the
fun.
secret and what's the 7? That's what I
Okay,
want to know.
so,
What's the
yeah,
secret? What's
yeah.
the 7? Is it 7
So at
rules?
that time, we just put in a bowl a whole bunch of different, things that we wanted done to ourselves.
No. Okay.
And he would pick out my bowl, and then he would do that act. And we had what we call a kitchen timer at the time. So we would set the act, set the timer, and do that act for
Okay.
2 minutes. And it was just really fun. And
Hmm.
then he said, that was really fun. We should really think about developing a game. So then I said, well, let's do it. So we really just had a really fun time developing Secret 7.
Okay.
So Secret 7 has a library of 400 pleasure cards.
Okay. Now
And the cards are,
tell me about these pleasure cards.
so the pleasure cards are color coded from mild to wild, with blue being like a mild type of card,
Mm-hmm.
yellow being a little bit more moderate,
Mm-hmm.
and then red being those hot and explicit cards.
Oh, so the
And
buck
then
wild cards, right?
buck wild cards,
Okay, the
right?
dirty ones, right? The ones you don't want your kids to find.
Exactly. Exactly. The ones that I usually don't even show on air.
Okay,
So,
okay, okay,
yep,
okay.
yep. And then there's black cards where you can make up your own act and create your own act, and it has a common backside, so your partner's not going to know that you've done so.
Really?
But Secret 7 is actually a great communication tool as well.
Okay.
So what you do is you go through the library of 400 pleasure cards. This is Secret 7. This is the pleasure cards.
Okay.
This is the game.
Okay.
So you're going to go through these 400 pleasure cards, and you're going to select 7 cards that you want done to you.
Okay.
And then your partner's going to go through and select the 7 cards that they want done to them.
Okay.
Yeah, the secret is you're not going to know the 7 that she's chosen, and she's not going to know the 7 that you've chosen until you take the dice, and it basically becomes a craps dice game.
Okay,
You're
okay.
rolling to hit a 7 or 11.
Okay,
Now,
I'm good
if
at
you hit a
rolling
7 or
7s and
11,
11s.
Yep, only 7 or 11s.
Okay.
If you hit a 7 or 11, then she's going to pull from one of your cards, and then she's going to perform that act on you for 2 minutes by setting the audible timer.
Oh, really? You know,
Yes,
you got
and then
big
once the
smiles on my
timer
face right now.
What do you say?
I say you got big smiles on my face right now.
Well, that's good. That's good because it's super fun getting pleasured the way that you want to get pleasured, right?
Okay.
And it's super fun finding out how your partner wants to get pleasured.
So tell me this, you know, I get being pleasured, right? We all like, I think I'm good at pleasuring. I like the whole act of that. So tell me how pleasuring is tied into improving that communication. So is it breaking down the walls, allowing someone to be able to express to their partner things that they are afraid to tell them that bring them pleasure or that they're into or that makes them happy? Is that some of the things that we're doing here?
Right. So say you're in a new relationship, right? And you're trying to determine what turns your partner on and what, you know, you want to let your partner know really kind of what turns you on, right?
Right.
But it's kind of feel a little insecure, a little timid about really expressing that.
Right.
So the cards say it for you.
Okay.
And if you're getting one thing done and you're not really having some of the romantic things, the cards say that as well.
Okay.
So it's just a great icebreaker, if you will, while having fun. So you really get to pick the cards and say, and I tell people, most times it becomes just a communication tool because people like to discuss the cards.
Right.
You know, babe, what do you think about that card? Or what do you think about number? The cards are numbered.
Okay.
So you get to actually say, what do you think about card number such and such? And what do you think about that? Now, there's a full range of cards.
Okay.
I mean, really.
Now let me ask you a question. So as I'm thinking about your game, right?
Yes.
And I'm thinking about, you know, pulling a card and communicating about what brings me pleasure. I don't think I've ever had a woman, I think I've had a woman ask me, you know, do you like this or do you like that? But I don't think I've ever had a conversation, an in-depth conversation with a woman about the things that bring me pleasure. A lot of the times I get, bluntly, people think that I'm experienced.
Right.
So it's this wall that I come into that it's one-sided when it's intimate, if that makes any sense. Meaning me to them, it's all about me pleasuring them. And then when it comes to me being pleasured in different ways, it seems to be like I'm hurting feelings, like someone's feelings may be hurt. Does that make, let me just be blunt. It seems like I'm hurting somebody's feelings. Oh, why isn't this happening? Well, I can't explain that.
Right.
You know?
But, okay.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Sure. So that happens. That's very common, just so you know.
Okay.
And with some of my clients that I talk to actually experience the exact same problem.
Okay.
And what the problem and what it really is a communication problem. And it's not a communication problem that should be happening in the bedroom.
Okay.
It's a communication problem issue that should be happening before you get to the bedroom, right?
Okay.
In a you know, it could be in the bedroom, but before you're in that intimate situation.
And let's talk about that. Talk to me about that, Miss Relationship Nurse. Why is that important to have those kind of conversations outside? Because, for instance, right, let's say I've had the perception that I've had that conversation outside of the bedroom, meaning I've sat down with this woman that I'm dating. We've talked about, okay, what's your past? Because I'm going to ask those questions. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to ask those questions. So once we sit down and we talk about those different things, of course, she's going to want to know, oh, babe, what makes you happy? For me, I don't really ask. I just kind of have things in my head that I think, I'm going to try it all until I figure out what makes her happy. I'm just putting it bluntly. I'm throwing everything on the table. I'm trying everything. So we're going to do it all.
And you're seeing what sticks.
Exactly. I'm throwing everything up against the wall. So, and sometimes that's intimidating.
Exactly. And you're saying that she's not doing the same thing. But see, I think the communication should be better than that, Sedrick. I think the communication should be exactly what you desire. So you're saying, I think it should be that candid. I think it should be like, babe, what do you think about this?
Okay.
I'm thinking, you don't have to say that that's something that you experienced and pleasured before, but you say that you're interested in trying it with her. Or you have seen this, like say on a porn or something
I do
like that.
I do all of that. I'll put it on and say, see that? Let's do that.
And then what is she saying about that?
We may try that, but you see, you put me on the spot.
You put your yes, but yes.
Okay, so we may try that, and then the outcome is not maybe what. It takes me a very long time for things to happen with me in that space.
Okay. Well, and is it because she hasn't got that skill down right? Is it because that skill is not down right, that she's not actually mastered that skill yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So that will require practice, right? That's a new skill for her. So you have to be patient with her. And it's like anything that someone is trying.
I'm very patient. I've been very patient. I'm very patient.
So some of the ways that you can do that is you can actually take some time, but you also want to give positive feedback. So the things that she's doing right in that situation, you want to say, that's it. Guide her.
Okay.
To exactly how you would like to be pleasured.
Hold that thought. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to finish talking about this on the next segment. Guys, we'll be right back on the Conversation Shop. Welcome back to the Conversation Shop with Sedrick Page. I'm here with my very special guest, the relationship nurse, Miss LaDonna Wright. How you doing, LaDonna?
I'm doing well.
Yes, on the first segment, LaDonna and I were talking about what she had been doing as a nurse and RN in Chicago and moving out to North Carolina, being in relationships and working through things with the love of her life, and decided to play a love game, and from that love game, and tying that into her being a registered nurse and caring for people, and being a woman that's been in relationships, she became the love nurse. The relationship nurse. I'm sorry. But I call you the love nurse.
Yeah, because I love on people, and I want people to love on each other. That's absolutely correct.
And don't get me wrong, I know the relationship nurse, but I'm going to call you the love nurse, because at the end of the day, what you're doing by being a relationship nurse is showing people how to love each other in a very open and honest way. So That's me giving you that crown, Miss Queen.
Thank you so much. I accept.
Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to dive right back into our conversation, which I think was a very interesting conversation. And for my audience, the relationship nurse is diagnosing me. So I'm having a diagnosis unbeknownst to me on air, but I'm okay with that. So on the first segment, we got into having a conversation about, let's say you're just starting a relationship. You're having a conversation with your mate about what you like sexually, what you like, to do, just conversations about everything. So how do you have a very open and honest conversation when it comes to sex, especially a man to a woman, what you really like, especially if you're perceived as being experienced on the man's side or perceived on being experienced on the woman's side as well. how do those things equate to open communication and having a very loving and fulfilling relationship? So I was saying to the relationship nurse that in my experience, I think I'm very honest and blunt about what I want and what I like. And I realize sometimes I may not communicate it in the most loving way. I think I do. I think I can. But sometimes through frustration, I may not communicate it in the most loving way as possible. So how do you, communicate with your mate, man to woman, woman to man, in a way not to hurt their feelings, break their spirits? It's all when you're talking about sex, you're talking about ego. People want to know that's something I do well. We know everybody doesn't do it well, but we want to believe that. You want to be King Kong to the person that you're with. As a guy, we all want to be King Kong the lion. We want to be the Lion King, okay? So how do you communicate that openly with someone and not turn them into Simba's son?
Right. So Cedric, you said a lot there. So okay, so a couple of things. So first of all, we're not doing a full assessment.
Okay.
I mean, I can't diagnose you without doing a full assessment. And
we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that later with Secret 7.
Assessments yet.
Okay.
But this is what I want to say, that when you're talking about sex, right, it's very personal, and like you said, the egos can be involved, and it's a very sensitive in nature issue, right? First of all, you got to have a lot of confidence and a lot of sensitivity communicating that type of acts.
Okay.
But I want to say that it starts before you get into the bedroom, right? So you have to have trust in the relationship and communicate and create that intimacy before you actually get into the bedroom.
Okay.
So when you get into the bedroom, that is a safe space, right, that you actually trust one another when you're communicating. So like it starts in the morning, it starts throughout the week. It doesn't really just start in the bedroom.
Okay.
But when you get in the bedroom, and if you're experiencing some things that aren't pleasurable for you at that point, so that I don't really say that communication should take place right there.
Right.
I think what you should be doing is some guidance and some redirecting or some leading by example during those times.
Okay, let me offer you a different take on that, because I've ran the gamut in these situations, and I'm just curious about your take on it.
Sure.
So let's say that you're in a relationship from a guy's standpoint with a woman, and women all think that intimacy is all good for a man. It's not. It's just not. So let's say I really love this woman, like this woman that I'm with, but I just don't like being intimate with her. Okay. But intimacy is very important to me. So I don't want to lose her, so we keep trying and working, and the part that makes it not good is not the act. The part that makes it bad is the mechanicalness of, the general, don't do this, do this. Oh, somebody, the director. I don't know if right, the woman that's the director. I don't like the director.
Right. Okay. Okay. So you're saying that when you're in the moment and that person is redirecting you to do some things or some acts, that is a turn off for you.
Let me put it bluntly. When the person is saying, oh, don't do it this way, it may, and again, to pleasurable things, don't do it this way, do it that way. Oh, it doesn't feel like you're making love to me. It feels like you're things like, with ladies, I'm trying to understand, so please help me.
Yeah. So most definitely that should take place outside the bedroom is what I'm saying.
Okay.
You shouldn't be getting coached during the session.
Thank you. I agree.
That's not romantic at all.
That
definitely is a turn off. That definitely shouldn't happen.
Okay.
What should happen is like a day later or so, then you can have that conversation about what happened and how it could be better. It shouldn't go on until the next actual act happens. It should be before the next act happens, but soon after that experience that wasn't pleasurable happened.
Okay, let me put
so you have to do it in a timely manner, but you definitely don't do it while it's happening.
Okay, let me make it blunt. blunt, even a little more blunter about it. Okay, let's talk
Okay.
about love language in a nice way. Love
Okay.
having two different love languages, meaning let's
Okay.
say you have a woman she wants to be made love to.
Okay.
Okay, soft music, Luther Vandross or whatever floats you.
Right.
That's what comes to mind. The
Right.
guy, he loves his woman. He's making love to her, right? But
Right.
he's Tupac,
Right.
Biggie.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So in the bedroom, you have Luther Vandross, versus,
Never had a
Luke
baby.
Campbell.
Right.
So how do you make those two people that care about each other? How do you make that love language match?
By compromising.
Okay.
Okay. By compromising. So it's not going to always. So you have to meet. Okay. So a relationship is about meeting each other's needs, right?
Hmm.
So you have to compromise. So at some points it's going to be romantic, and I would suggest that maybe a lead up. So the foreplay, when that's happening and the romantic setting is happening, maybe that's when the Luther is playing. But
Okay.
then when the actual um,
When it's going down, when it's going
yes,
down,
yes.
right?
Then you let her know that that enhances your situation,
Hmm.
and if she cares about you, it'll be about her figuring out what pleasures you, and if that part of that music is setting the setting and the scene,
Hmm.
I think that that's something that can be negotiated. And let me just tell you, if you're communicating clearly
Right.
and you're communicating something over and over again,
Right.
and no matter what the situation is, as far as music or anything, if you're not able to be heard in that situation or able to be fully satisfied, you have to figure, is this something I want to settle on? Is this a serious enough issue that I should continue this relationship or figure out how to discontinue this relationship?
I agree with
I
you.
think a lot of people stay in relationships that are unfulfilling for them.
I agree
And I think
totally.
that is on that person.
Okay.
So I think it's absolutely correct that you should communicate your needs to one another,
Hmm.
and you want to make sure that you're communicating in the most effective way for you and
Hmm.
also for the person that you're communicating with.
But you said
But
something.
then,
Go ahead.
go
You
ahead.
said something earlier about trust, right? So what I
Right.
always like to say in those situations, even when there's a clash of 70s and 80s, or 90s, you know
Yes.
what I mean, with the music,
Uh-huh.
even when it's that way, it comes down to trust. Because what I always say to the person that I'm choosing to be in those kinds of situations with,
Hmm.
trust me. I know how to, no, not beating chest or anything, but understand and committed to pleasing the woman that I'm with. So
Right.
if you trust me enough to let yourself go a little bit, let
Mhm.
yourself go release, then you
Yeah.
probably be really happy on where we can go together, to put it
Right.
bluntly. But I
Right.
want a woman to say that to me as well. And I've only
Right.
had that experience maybe once in my
Okay.
life, and maybe that's a reason why I'm in the space that I'm in now. But
Right.
how do you navigate that in a relationship in a very healthy way without losing each other? Because again, everybody's bringing, remember I said, men, we want to be Lion King, we want to be
Right.
King Kong. We don't want to
Right.
be Simba. Nobody
Right.
wants to be Simba.
Right. So let me tell you what I think. I think that when people are getting into relationships, right, they don't they
Mm-hmm.
they don't communicate their needs right away. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that that is the mistake. I think that as soon as you're entering and you're looking to start to come together sexually, I think that that is the best time to let your needs be known
Okay,
because
hold
that
that thought.
person is really listening. Yes?
Hold that thought. You're going to take with it, but I want you to, before we go into the next segment, give my audience and give me tools in communicating with my mate. Give me examples of ways that we can communicate openly and in a very comfortable way with them. Some suggestions prior to going into our next segment, next break.
Sure. Okay. So if you're communicating when you're communicating with your partner, first of all, you want to know her communication style, and you you want her to know your communication style.
Thank you. Don't
So
leave the men out.
you want to make sure that she knows that the way that you're communicating is not meant to be offensive. So
Okay.
she needs to know that your heart is in the right place and what your intentions are.
Okay.
So more so than even communicating in that situation, she has a history of what your actions are as well.
Okay.
So she has to have that trust and feel safe in that situation. But certainly you do want to pay attention to your tone.
Mm-hmm.
You want to pay attention to your eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
You want to pay attention to making sure that you're giving her verbal cues to make her feel comfortable.
Give
like
me examples of verbal cues.
What'd you say?
Give me some examples of verbal cues.
So verbal cues may be something like put a light touching her arm when you're talking to her,
Mm-hmm.
holding her hand when you're talking to her,
I do that.
putting your hand on her lap when you're talking to her.
Okay.
Okay, you know, leaning in when you're talking to her,
Okay.
making her want to listen to you.
Okay.
Okay, so and then making sure that like I said, that tone is correct. Making sure that you're paying full attention to her,
Okay.
and making sure that she's doing the same things too, and also making sure that the timing is right. That one of you just have not, came home from work, that you're not experiencing a stressful situation,
Mm-hmm.
that you don't have other things on your mind as well.
Hold that thought. We're
Okay.
gonna pick that up on the next segment.
Okay.
We'll be right back on the Conversation Shop. Welcome back to the Conversation Shop with Sedrick Page. I'm here with the relationship nurse, Miss LaDonna Wright. Hey, LaDonna, welcome back. We're going to dive right back into this show. The last segment we were having a conversation about love language, being able to communicate with your mate, when the woman's love language may be Luther Vandross and the guys may be Biggie, Tupac, Luke Campbell. So, how do you have those conversations and when do you? And we left off with you giving my audience some suggestions on ways to have that conversation. And as we were going into the segment, Miss Relationship Nurse, I decided, what the hell? I want a consultation right now. I'm in a space where I would love to figure some things out and answer some questions about myself. You're someone that I've known for many years and someone that I respect. So why not, let you give my audience an example of what you do with me? What do you think about that?
I think that is awesome and very brave of you, and I'm really excited.
Okay, let's just do it. Let's dive right in. Let's dive right in.
Okay. So as we mentioned earlier, you were saying that I did it, and so how I do my business is, if you want to sign up, you sign up for a free 20-minute consultation.
Okay.
And then after that, we do an initial assessment where I ask you a battery of questions.
Okay.
And then what we do is set up a session plans of what you want to have going forward.
Okay.
And those sessions look like 60-minute sessions, either monthly, where you do 4 sessions for 4 weeks,
Okay.
or you do it for 12 weeks for 12 sessions, or you do it a la carte when you just have a session as needed. Most clients have a series of sessions first and then sign up for as needed sessions. But so as we do our consultation now, Sedrick, what I would want to know from you is what does a successful relationship look like for you?
Okay. Where I'm at in my life now, a successful relationship to me would be a relationship with a woman that's, loyalty, honesty, and communication is number one. I have children, so they'd have to accept my children, quite frankly, as if they were theirs. And if they had kids, I would do the same. A respectful relationship with my mate where we really listen to one another in terms of communication, very clear about what we like, what we want, and where we're going. I'm just at the age I don't have time to figure it out. I kind of know where I want to go, and I want somebody next to me that wants similar things. In terms of, attributes, she just has to be beautiful to me, and beauty to me runs the gamut. There's no cookie cutter thing. I like beautiful black women. I like beautiful women of color. I can appreciate any woman of any complexion that's beautiful and that loves me. My motto is love those who love you back. So I'm looking for someone who can do that for me. Did I answer your question?
It did.
Okay.
Now tell me this. When was the last time that you had such a relationship, or have you ever had such a relationship?
The last time I had a relationship like that was with my children's mother. The last time I had a relationship, that was about...
that, but
That
I
was
didn't.
that was about 9 years ago.
Okay.
That was about 9 years ago, and then after that, I had a something close to that. It just let me know what I didn't want right after that. So I'd say about 8 years, 8, 7, 8 years.
Okay.
You know,
So
right
you
right
so you
now,
haven't been in a fulfilling relationship for 8 years.
I have to be honest, not at all. Not
Okay.
completely fulfilling, no.
Okay. And then have you been dating since then?
Yeah, off and on. I
Oh,
go through. I'm one of those people where, if I'm not getting what I want, I just won't date. I rather focus on working and taking care of my children. So
oh,
in between time, if I meet someone that catches my attention, I get lazy. I stop putting effort into meeting someone. Let me put
right.
it that way. Yes.
Okay. And that was going to be my next question. So what are you doing to meet anyone, if anything? Are you doing anything to meet that special person now, or in the hopes to meeting that special person?
Well, having conversations with someone that's special to me, it would be nice for things to move in a space where everybody's happy and it feels like a relationship. Right now, it's more like a really good friendship. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Which is a really good thing, but not. I don't want a homeboy. I want a girlfriend.
So from my understanding, and to be clear, so you are dating right now. It's just
We,
has not developed into a real
I'm a
relationship.
I'm a Southern man. When I say dating, that means getting to know people. That
Okay.
doesn't mean in a relationship.
Okay.
Okay.
Exactly.
Let
So
me
you're getting
clarify.
to know people right now.
Off and on. Let me put it bluntly. Right now, kind of no.
Okay.
Right now, kind of no. Kind of
Okay.
yes and no.
Okay. And are you doing anything specific to meet anyone? Are you doing anything intentional?
No, because the person that I'm kind of hanging out with doesn't live here. Does it make sense?
Okay.
So that's long distance. It's hit or miss. So when I'm home, I'm not doing anything. I'm working. To be honest, focused on being successful and focused on giving back, focused on positive things. So I don't focus on. I feel like what God has for you, you'll find. You don't have to search for it. I've searched for it over and over again, went out looking for it, and every time I look for it, I make mistakes.
Right.
I find something that I think is gold and find out it's fool's gold.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, the person that you're dating that lives long distance are you dating her exclusively, or are you open to dating others right now as well, getting to know others at the same time?
I think right now we're both just friends. So, we communicate openly with each other about what we're doing and what's going on. And, right now it's kind of being numb. I can't
Okay.
really tell you what I'm open to. I mean, if I met something that moved me and swayed me in ways that makes my blood boil, which is what I'm looking for, then
Right.
I'd have to have an honest conversation about me pursuing something else. And I'm sure if that happened to her, she'd do the same thing. So it's a very adult relationship. So, I'm open to
Okay.
meeting
So
someone.
you're open to meeting new people
Of
and
course. Yes.
dating others. Okay. And how long have you been dating her?
For, over 2 years.
Okay.
Long
So,
distance.
okay.
So when I say long distance, seeing each other maybe once every 3 months.
Okay. So,
That makes sense?
first thing, well, one of the things that I would address
Hmm.
when you became my client,
Okay.
when you became my client is, why are you continuing that relationship? But
Because
but you,
right now, because it's comfortable
right,
and because, quite frankly, my blood isn't boiling towards anything else.
right,
I'm not
but
fencing.
right. So you settled on that type of relationship.
No,
So
no, 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 no. I just had this conversation. And I can tell you openly and bluntly, I haven't settled. What I'm scared of, I'm afraid of is settling.
okay,
I don't
when
want to be that
I say
person that settles.
when I say that you settled, not on only having that relationship, but you're settled in having that type of relationship. That relationship is a relationship that you're continuing to feed, continuing to give energy to, continuing to have meetups with.
Of course. That's zero. Everybody want to be King Kong.
Okay,
You know, I ain't trying to be Simba.
Okay. Okay. So when if I was to meet with you, I would let you know that relationship is not something that you're looking for. So I would really dive into why are you continuing that relationship, because that relationship, I believe, is prohibiting you for getting to the relationship that you desire.
She's a very good friend of mine. We're very good friends, and whether I find someone else, she'll always be someone in my life as my friend.
Oh, okay. So and you've had intimacy with this person.
Most of the women that I'm really close friends with, and most of my friends are women, bluntly, I've been intimate with.
Okay.
Okay.
So, okay. you get me. You're gonna get me now. Okay. So.
You asked me to be honest, right? Hey,
no.
All right. I'm probably being too honest.
Okay. So as my client, I would discuss with you and try to figure out why that you feel that way to have those type of relationships, because those relationships aren't conducive to getting the kind of relationship that your heart desires and feels. It's you can't be 100% ready.
I'm not communicating. I'm not communicating with them every day.
No,
Listen to me.
Ready cannot be all the way ready the way that you would need to be ready, long as you have those type of relationships.
Let me put it in perspective. When I say they're friends of mine, these are people that I'm not talking to every day. They're not calling me. I'm not spending time with them. Remember, I'm spending time with no one.
Right.
I'm just being honest that these are people that when I see them, you know, I have love for them. I care about them. I'm going to say hi. If they call me and they need something, I happen to reach out, I'm going to take a call from them.
Sure. Although, if you were to get the relationship that's 100% fulfilling,
then I cut them all off.
Exactly. But you had just said a minute ago that this is something that's a friend that's going to be in your life for always, a friend forever.
Right. But if she's truly my friend, she'll understand that I'm with a young lady or a woman that I truly love and truly loves me, and she would never put me in a situation to lose that relationship.
Who won't? Your wife or
my friend?
Or
the friend that we're talking about. If she,
okay.
like,
but
I have
I'm
a
talking
friend.
about your relationship that's going to mean something to you.
Oh, the relationship that's going to mean something to me, then she comes before any relationship.
So I'm probably thinking that when you have that type of relationship, she's not going to be comfortable with you having a relationship with a person that you've previously been intimate with.
And she won't have to deal with that because I'll cut all of that off.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't have a problem doing that. I mean, my queen, I'm looking for my queen.
Okay.
My queen gets treated like a queen.
All right. I thought a couple seconds.
I show my daughters how their king should be treating them as queens. So I take that very seriously. So I know how to treat my lady. I write poetry.
Okay.
I go to dinners. I cook dinners. I know what to do. I'm just looking for someone that inspires. I haven't been inspired in so many years to want to do those kinds of things for a woman. And I feel bad about that because I'm not inspired to do a lot of things that I love to do for someone that I love openly and honestly.
Okay. So no, so I get that, and I'm glad to hear that if you were to meet someone that you consider your queen or someone that you're looking to make your wife, that those other relationships would be sacrificed for that. So I'm glad to hear that.
Okay.
So now let's talk about how you can meet your queen.
And hold that thought. We're going to go right into how I can meet the queen on our next segment, and then once we finish out the assessment, I want you to end the next segment with just wrapping us up with Secret 7 and how everything ties together, okay?
Yeah, I'll just get my contact number, yes.
I got you. But we'll be right back on The Conversation Shop. Welcome back to The Conversation Shop with Sedrick Page. We're going to dive right back into the next segment with the relationship nurse, Miss LaDonna Wright, in her consultation of me, Sedrick Page. So, LaDonna, let's go right back into my consultation.
Okay. So we were saying that you were dating someone long distance, but that person wasn't someone that you were fully interested in committing to,
Well,
or fully interested in.
because of the
Right.
distance, it doesn't feel like a relation. It's more of a friendship,
Right.
because I'm only seeing that person maybe once every 2, 3 months, sometimes once every 4 or 5 months. So it's a friendship. Okay.
But even so, but to be fair, it's not really the distance that's keeping you all distance. It's actually you're not interested enough to come together more often, coming together in the same city. You just don't have that interest to make that type of relationship.
Let me be honest. I mean, I understand exactly what you're asking me. No, I'm not swayed to move where she is, and I don't think she's swayed to move where I live. So that says a lot about what we want from each other. I agree with you.
Okay. So now what I want to start to explore is what type of relationship that you want and how come you're not, and what are you doing to fulfill that? And you said that you were
Nothing.
being a little lazy. You're not, okay, so you're not doing anything. You're not
I mean,
going
when
out.
I go, yeah, I go out. When I go out, I have conversations with people, and I meet a lot of young ladies that are younger than me, and that's okay. I'm happy being a mature
Okay.
man, but I'm just really into a very mature relationship, and quite frankly, I feel like I'll know it when I find it. I'm
Okay.
not rushing it. Remember what I said before in the past? I used to jump from relationship to relationship to relationship. I
Yes.
made a conscious decision not to do that. I made a conscious decision not to go out and seek and hurt. I don't want to hurt women. And what I mean by that, I went through a phase where, when you're trying to meet people and you're detached and you're numb, so you're dating and you're having these intimate relationships with people, they may be attached to you, but you're at a space where you're numb and you're detached. So the only thing that you end up doing is hurting people. I'm not interested in hurting anyone. I'm not interested in giving anyone the perception that they're being lied to. I'm blunt to a fault. I'll tell you. If you want
Okay.
a husband, boyfriend, it's not me. Find
Okay.
somebody else. I'm not gonna hear love out of my mouth unless I love you, so don't ask.
Now, now tell me about your dating experience because you're dating long distance now. So tell me about your dating experience in Madison and how hopeful you are to finding someone doing the things that you're doing in Madison.
Not very hopeful at all, which is why I told you to do the consultation
Okay.
with me.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think I'll find
Okay.
anyone here. I think if I
Okay.
find someone, they won't be here.
You're right. So I know that the most successful way to date now is online. I
Okay.
know that people have a lot of stereotypes about dating online, as far as it's a desperate measure, or you don't really get to meet the real people. But there's an art to dating online, and there's an effective way to dating online. And the best thing about dating online, you can date anyone in the world.
And
So
let's talk
I
about that.
so part of the consultation. So if you're my client, I would absolutely look at making a profile online for you to date, making sure that
Let's
that
talk about that. Hold the
profile.
thought. Hold your thought. Let's talk about that
Okay.
because the best experience I've had, I have experience with this. Best
Okay.
experience I've had was on eHarmony, and it was
Okay.
on eHarmony when I lived in the Twin Cities, and I
Okay.
met some interesting people. And met people that lived in Madison that I was surprised that I was matched up with, and
Yeah.
quite frankly, those relationships are very meaningful relationships, and I've
Hmm.
gotten very meaningful friendships from those.
Right.
But because of different situations, we weren't able to see where those relationships would have went. When I
Right.
relocated to Madison, the pool on eHarmony kind of dropped way down in terms of what
Right.
was available in Madison and around,
Yes.
and then my traveling had kind of stopped a little bit. And then I went to looking at, I guess, the bottom of the bucket. You go to Plenty of Fish because that's where most people were going. And then you go to Match.com. So I was doing that, and quite frankly, you start seeing the same people. And then one lady you dated knows this girl that knows your mother, your cousin, and dated your friend, and
Right.
it gets all convoluted. And then people go to accusing you
Right.
of all kind of crazy stuff. So it makes you want to stay off of them.
Okay. So of course I know that there's a strategy to dating online, and
Hmm.
part of what I do with my clients is teach them the strategy of dating online.
Okay.
And I also it's about the way that you communicate online. So there's a way that you communicate while dating online that is a filter. That's a built-in filter by the way that you communicate with them that most people aren't doing.
Educate me. Educate me.
Well,
Tell me.
we would have to take that off because that's what I get paid to do that.
I got you. Okay.
We would have to
I
take
got
that
you. We'll definitely
offline.
do that. Okay.
There's a filter that you would do on one dating online to reach out to women. You can look at their profiles, and it is a way of looking at them to determine if they're a quality person worth pursuing.
Okay.
Because you are the man, you do most of the pursuing. I know that you probably like to keep it that way and do it that way. And
I like it when a woman pursues me.
Okay.
I don't like to do all the work, but real quick, hold your thought. What I want to do as we're going into online dating, I want to bring your assessment that you just did all the way back to the online dating. So in your assessment, what did you learn about me from those questions? And I know this is quick. So what did you learn about me from those questions as a person? So what was that profile? And then take me from that profile into the remedy, which would be online dating and maybe some other things that you would prescribe for me, Miss Nurse, Miss RL.
Okay. So absolutely, I would look at. First of all, I haven't done the full, and it's not appropriate to do it online.
Right, I understand.
But I want to do a full assessment of how you feel about relationships. Why in the past have they failed? What did that look like? And just a whole profile about your past relationships, right? And that helps me determine some of the skill sets that you need to develop for having a new relationship.
We'll stop right there. Hold that thought. Go ahead.
Let me tell you, some of the skill sets are avoiding a certain type of woman that's just not good for you.
Okay.
Okay, because a lot of good men actually attract women that aren't good for them. And
let's talk about that a little. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, yes.
Okay, let's talk about that.
A little bit. Okay, so everybody has insecurities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone wants to be needed. But there's certain men and women that attract people that make them codependent on one another, and they set themselves up for an unsuccessful relationship.
I attract dependents.
What'd you say?
I'll say in my adult life, I've started attracting dependents.
Right. But there's people that have relationships with people that they want to be their helpmate, the person that they're going to help change, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
When you need to learn how to identify a person that's whole, or learn to identify and communicate things to people to make them whole and give them a chance to be whole, and then see if that manifests. And if that don't manifest, you need to know how to move on to the next relationship.
Well, Miss RN, I have something I want to say. I think most women can't handle having a man that's whole, because I consider myself, quite frankly, a man that's whole. And what I'm finding is when I meet women, a lot of them aren't ready to handle a person that's whole. They're looking for someone they could fix. They're looking for someone that needs them. I don't need anything from a woman other than their company and their love. That's it. I don't need anything financial, nothing.
Yeah. So I have a lot of clients that experience the same thing that you're saying. And what we do is we teach them how to, because so really what it is that woman may not see herself as being whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's looking to give and look for exactly what she's looking to receive.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about it is communicating to the woman in a different way, and communicating to her exactly what she desires.
Okay.
So put it this way. So if a woman is sitting there trying to tell you that she doesn't like when you do this or do that,
mm-hmm.
you need to explain to her why you're doing this and that. And then it really asks the question, why are you uncomfortable with that? I find that when she states that while she's uncomfortable with it, she will see the issue is hers and really not yours. And that's really the biggest key about it, is the men sitting there communicating to their partner, I'm strong, I'm whole because of this. I do things because of this. And really it's about letting that woman know your intentions. Women really get fuzzy when they really don't know your intentions. They question all of your behavior because they're not being communicated exactly what your intentions are.
Well, ladies forget that their actions don't match everything that pops out of their mouths either. They're can be extremely confusing, and because of past pains, a woman will take to the new relationship as if you owe her something for all the things that the other men didn't give her. And I've had to tell ladies, look, point blank, I'm not paying for everything, all the scars that you've gotten from these other knuckleheads that you were with. If that's what you're looking for, then keep pushing. See, keep pushing like you're on the block.
That's why I do work with individuals, right? Because some women need to work on themselves individually. Some men need to work on themselves individually. Whether it's figuring out how to overcome some of my insecurities, how to gain trust and confidence in a relationship, or just how to communicate. The biggest thing is communication. So most people do not know how to communicate exactly what they're feeling and what their desired outcome is.
Yes.
But there's a big part that's missing in that. When you're stating a problem to your loved one, when you're communicating the issue, you don't just communicate the issue, but you also give them the solution to the issue.
Okay.
And then you give them a chance to fix it. Most people in relationships want to do the right thing, right? We're in a relationship to be pleased by you and to please you, right? But we don't know how to do that. We let our past issues get in the way. We let our feelings get in the way. We let our egos get in our way, and we let our insecurities get in the way. But once you say, you know what, this is how I feel when you do this. This is how I would feel. I would feel better if you do it this way. And which is the solution, by the way. And then if the desired outcome is that we have a happy relationship, I think you get that buy-in from each other.
But you're talking about trust. You're talking about when the dust settles, what I'm hearing from you, in order to have those kinds of communication, the person has to really trust you, because what I call them is landmines, right? So we're in relationships and we're communicating. And again, it's already hard to have those conversations just talking about the relationship and getting along.
In communicating, the basic premises of communication is, if you have an issue, to state what your issue is. State how you feel about your issue. Don't make the issue about that person. Make that issue about you. It's not what you did, it's how I feel when this is happening, right? Then you tell them the solution to your issue. I would feel better, or I would receive this better if you did it this way. That is the solution. And then you let them know, look, my desired outcome is for us to get along.
Right.
Our desired outcome is for us to be able to communicate and for me to be transparent. I guarantee you, if you practice those three things in communicating, you will build intimacy, you'll build trust in one another, and you have a positive outcome. So who does not want that? So that's really what I want to tell you at the end of this show.
And tell us how they can get in touch with you.
So you can get in contact with me with relationshipnurse.com and relationshipnurse.com. To buy Secret 7, the adult game, which is a great Christmas gift, the gift that keeps giving. It's a great gift for any couple. It's a great gift for anyone that you know that's having a great relationship, because the people that play Secret 7 are individuals that invest in their relationship and believe in having fun and keeping it spicy. So you can buy Secret 7 on secretvii.com or on Amazon. And we're also located in all the adult novelty stores around the world.
Thanks for joining me on The Conversation Shop.